way from the start, I can feel it in my heart, like all the way from the start.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Sean Devine, and today I've got a new review for you all, and it's for Output's Substance. This is a bass-focused synthesizer instrument. It's based on samples, and it uses the Contact engine by Native Instruments. However, if you don't have Contact, you can still get the free Contact player, which will allow you to also use all of the sounds in this library and also have access to this really cool interface that Output has created for the instrument. So let me go ahead and I'm going to play just a really quick idea. I put this together in like 5 to 10 minutes just to show you how big and impactful the sounds and substance are. This is only 5 instances of the instrument, and again, just to show you how thick and present these tones are that they've created. It's a really cool engine, and I'm going to show you the ins and outs of that in just a second. So hopefully you're listening on a fairly large speaker setup, or you've got a subwoofer, because the sounds in here are just massive in the low end. So they've really done a great job of giving you some unique tones for your low frequency stuff. And there's also some sounds in here that can be used for like arpeggios and things that are not just bass related. So let's go ahead and let's just dive into the interface. I'm going to just show you around a little bit and let you see exactly how Substance works. All right, so I have the Substance interface here. Again, I'm loading it through Contact 5. If you don't have Contact 5, you can load it through the free player. But down here in our main panel, we've got some macro controls, so we can do things like tone, dirt, wet, filter, and these are going to be a little bit different for each preset. And you can actually map anything you want. I mean, if I wanted to go into EQ and map this frequency, I could map that to the macro just as easy as this right here. Just clicking that and boom, it is mapped to our macro control. So that's a really cool way to control a lot of different parameters at once using your mod wheel, or you can map them to any number of other knobs on your controller. So really powerful feature there. Now, in terms of the sound engine, it is sample based. Obviously, it's in Contact, but you have control of 3 different sort of oscillators or sample layers. So right here, as you can see, we've got one layer that's the tape sub. So let me just solo the other 2. So serious low end on that. And if you click there, it will give you source selection. You've got categories, so simple synths, bass guitars, low brass and woodwinds, process bass, subs, etc. A lot of different categories here. Complex synths. So if we're in the sub category, we can do just a sine, tri sub. Really big stuff. Let's do this junk in the trunk. Really cool. So we click OK. And then again, you've got 3 of those. And with each one, you're going to be able to control different parameters like our ADSR. So we can control the decay, sustain, all that stuff, panning. You've got a control here for making the sound a little bit wider. So let's just say that we have this brass hole soloed. If I want to make that wider. So that's a cool feature. And then this is really handy when we're creating our own patches. I'm going to show you a little bit more of how we can put together our own in a little bit. But when you're doing bass stuff, it's really cool to have this transpose feature so that let's say we had a sub on one layer, but it was a little bit too high. It's as easy as just hitting -12. Or if we wanted to raise the brass, really cool. You can also adjust sample start. You've got your monophonic legato control, so you can have a little bit more of a sliding legato effect. If you click advanced down here, you can also control like your key ranges, the glide, some cool stuff there. Now we can also move on to an EQ section. So if I wanted to EQ this brass, then we could add some mids. Let's turn on this one. If I wanted to add more low end to that, we could just go into our sub, let's say 40. You can do that, and you could roll off the lows in the brass just to make sure that the sub is covered with this layer, et cetera, et cetera. And then you have a global EQ. So once you've finished mixing your layers individually, we could do some fine tuning on everything with the global EQ. Next, we have a filter section. Pretty straightforward. You've got a lot of different filter types for each layer, and then you have your global filter. And then the really cool effects section. Now this is great for this engine, specifically with sub bass. They've provided some really convenient effects for these types of sounds. As a producer, sound designer, I know that with bass, these are the kinds of things that I'm gonna want to do in the processing. So it's really easy to just reach for distortion, and you've got some cool stuff here. So let's say that we turn the distortion on, and let's click the tube. So we're going to turn that one off and just focus on tube. We can add some subtle or not so subtle saturation there. We've also got a dirt control, so you can hear what that does. And then finally we have lo-fi. Combine all of those and get some really cool effects there. You've also got this motion, so chorus, phaser, flanger, some cool stuff there. Oops. And we've also got pitch, and then finally you have compression, delay, reverb, standard fare there. Really cool stuff though. And then finally we have a rhythm tab. So in here we can basically control a lot of these different parameters like volume, the bite of the distortion. We can do a number of different rhythmic effects using our LFO down here. So let's say that we wanted to control the volume. Let me turn off the flutter. And then we're going to map this to volume. And let's make this quicker. And we're in a step sequencer mode, so I can go here and just kind of program these in like so. And we can use that for this one as well. Let's do it a little faster. And we can control how much of that we're doing. So as you can tell, there's just cut off. A lot of different parameters there that we can use this rhythm tab for. So as you can see, it's a really powerful engine. They're saying it's the most powerful engine that they've done to date. I don't have a lot of experience with outputs other products, but I hope to get familiar with them in the future. And if this interface is any indication what the others are like, I'm really impressed. This is probably the cleanest and best put together UI that I've seen for a custom contact library. They really have done an excellent job of organizing things, making it just inspiring and easy to look at. So I really like the interface there. So let's go ahead and let's just say that we want to create our own sound, and this will give you a much better idea of just how we can put together patches with Substance and using these really cool layers that they provide us. So let's go ahead and load up an initial preset. And that's just going to give us a clean sub. So let's say I wanted to go in here and let's just select this tape sub. I really like this layer. Now we're going to layer it up with something here. And what I want to point out that I was really impressed with Substance is they were really innovative in terms of the sample sources that they provided. Whereas a lot of these instruments would just go for, the usual sub bass kinds of layers, they actually included some really cool stuff that is again not very conventional, like these brass sections, which they're kind of like cinematic sounding, but they layer really well with the sub bass, and you can use them for a number of different effects, like that Mohawkian brass preset we just heard. But let's select a different one. Let's just say we do the solo tuba. So as you can hear, it sounds a little too low. So again, using that interface setting I was showing you earlier, we'll go to the Edit tab, and I'm just going to transpose that. Or not that one, excuse me. It would be this one. So it gives you a cool little transient there with that sample, but let's try something else. Let's see. That's really cool. It's contra soon. So I'm not sure exactly what contrabass and a bassoon. I don't know what that might be, but it sounds really cool. So let's go and let's see if we've got some effects that we could really get dirty with that one with. Let's just distort it a little bit. Really cool. Now let's say we want to add a little bit of a rhythm to that. Let's turn on the filter. As you can hear, it's really easy to start putting together some cool bass. Let's add one more layer just to give it even more thickness. And let's try one of these complex synths for this. Maybe hybrid, let's see. Oh, that's cool. It sounds massive. So let me turn on maybe a reverb on just the highs for that. Or maybe we could just use the global reverb. Sounds really big. All right, so let's go ahead and go through some presets. You've got 300 presets that Output provides for you. Some really cool stuff in here. Again, really diverse. It's not just your everyday kind of bass sounds. Everything from cinematic stuff to things that you can use in hip hop and trap, of course. But they're really unique in the tones. I was impressed with, again, how they approach this. You've got some kind of like live sounding bass instruments that you can use as well. Let's go ahead and load this up. This is filtered chorus bass. This is kind of like a Moog-y kind of chorusy bass. Sounds really thick. Let's see what this is. Insta Largo Trap. Let me turn up our BPM. Let's go to like 115. Now I'm just holding down one key. There's obviously some movement going on in that one. Really cool. Let's see what else we got here. Classic drop. Whoa. Really deep drop there. Clean 808. Jared's bass. Interesting. Got some kind of harmonic stuff going on there. Drifter. Breathy tuba. Like that. That's cool. I could use that in a beat. That's a cool sound. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Cool sound. Let's go through a couple more. That's big. Whoa, that'll shake your insides right there. So as you can hear, there's just some really cool tones. And again, I'm just scratching the surface. There's 300 something presets there. Not to mention you can go in here and of course create all your own patches using the different layer sources here. And Output has done a great job of providing some interesting, creative, new types of sources to combine with your typical 808 style bass sounds and just other like sine wavy types of sources. So really cool stuff there. Y'all, I would definitely recommend checking this out. I have not, again, been that familiar with Output until recently, but shout out to Eugene and the team over at Output. They've done a great job with Substance. I'm really impressed with this, and I'm looking forward to trying out more of their instruments in the future. One thing I do want to caution you about is the users who are not using the most incredibly fast machines. This is a very CPU intensive plugin. That could be due to the fact that it's running in Kontakt, the Kontakt player. I'm not sure, but I did notice a little bit of just some lag in the controls at times. And if you're running a lot of instances of it, it can, again, use a lot of CPU in your DAW. So just something to keep an eye on. I'm not using the fastest computer in the world. If you are, it probably won't be an issue, but just something to note. I hope this gives you a good idea of what is in Substance. And if you're interested in it, feel free to go to output.com, check out some of their other demo songs and videos that can tell you more about the plugin. Hope you get into it and get excited about it as I have, and we'll talk to you soon.